Hey everybody, welcome to Ready Set Crypto. Today is Wednesday, the 6th of September in 2023. So whether you're watching me live here today or whether you're watching this on a replay, which is probably going to be most of you out there, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you very much for attending here. And let's get out to the charts. I'd like to know if you are attending live, where you're located. Where are you today? Where are you coming in from the planet? And I'd like to immediately get into, I don't have a whole half hour today. I've got about 20 minutes before we have to boogie, hit the road. I've got a couple of trades to close out today before the closing bell in the equities market, so would need to get that done. So would love to spend the next 20 minutes or so focused on cryptocurrencies and what pairs that you guys would like to see. Again, my name is Doc. I am located in Greenville, South Carolina. Have been down here now for about, oh my gosh, 4 years now. So it's warm. It is warm down here, and it stays warm until almost about Christmas time. And then we get about a month or two of winter, and then it goes right back to spring again. So it's kind of what I like. Hey, we got Pilar coming in from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. I think I've been there before. I'm trying to remember why I was in Chambersburg. No, maybe I was thinking of Shippensburg. So, all right, welcome aboard. While you guys are checking in and letting me know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick analysis on what I see happening with Bitcoin. Okay, so we're going to start with the big dog here. And what you'll notice is that we have this ascending trend line, which has worked all the way through 2023, and this happens to be a head and shoulders pattern. So what we have is we've got a break of that trend line, and we've got this measured move target, which is the distance between the neckline and the head. This is how we interpret a head and shoulders pattern. So this is calling for a bottom eventually here about 19,000. I don't know if it's going to go down exactly to 19,000. It doesn't really matter. All we're looking for is kind of a direction for this, the amplitude for this. Hey, we got Entheo Sapien coming in from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome aboard. Good to see you out there. It's been a while since I've walked the bridge. Probably the last time was, oh my Lord, 2012. It's been way too long since I've walked the bridge. All right. So that's what I'm seeing here. And also what we're seeing is we see a shorter term. We see a shorter term. This is called a bear flag. This is a bear flag out there. So a release flag pattern with a lower high setting up. A bear flag, typically a flag pattern is about a halfway house in the middle of a move. So this would target somewhere around in the low 20s for this. Now, why is this important? Why is it important that we drop in price? And actually, I want to see it drop in price. I want to see it drop in price. And the reason for that is if we go out to the monthly chart, if we expand things out into the monthly chart, let's get some of this stuff out of the way here. What you'll see is since the beginning of time for these moves, what we always want to see is when we start off with an impulse wave to the upside, we want to see the price pull down to what's called a higher low. Price pulling up to a high, relative high, pulling down to a higher low, and then it takes off, right? This works every time. Even up here, pulling down to a relative higher low, and then it pulled into a higher high until we had the top back in 2021. So what I'm looking for here is we've got to pull down to some form of a higher low. I don't know whether that's going to be at 25,000, 22,000, maybe as low as 19,000, somewhere down in that area. But there's no doubt that once we hit that area, we're going to see a maximum amount of negativity. And the negativity is what you need to create that one step back, two steps forward kind of thing. So we've got to pull into a higher low. This is what I was complaining about the last 6 to 8 months. It was like, hey, this is a nice rally, but we got to pull down to a higher low in the monthly chart. All right, let's see. Mr. T, global liquidity does seem to be drying up. Yeah, a lot of that is because of we have interest rates going up, 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 up. So if you can get 5-6% on interest rates guaranteed and not risk anything, this is where people, when markets get nervous, they pile money into these treasury bills and they take it out of risk assets. So the only game in town over the past 15 years has been in risk assets where you had 0%. You couldn't go down to the bank and get any kind of passbook savings rate. But now you can get 5-6%. You can get more than that if you look around, right? But that pulls money out of risk assets. So this is what we're seeing right now. Now, it's not going to stay that way forever, right? So this is not 1982 again, where we're going to be sitting there going through 18% interest rates on a money market, right? That would just absolutely crush any kind of risk assets. So also what could happen here in the short term is that we can have a banking crisis where these rates, when they rise, if they rise at the wrong times, if they've got too much of their money in the old rates, this is what we saw with Silicon Valley Bank earlier this year. And if we have a banking crisis, then Bitcoin comes back to favor again. All right. So is there anybody joining us today that would like to look at any specific cryptos? So that's my take on Bitcoin. And as goes Bitcoin, goes the rest of the crypto market. So what I see happening, and I don't know when this is going to happen, but eventually we're going to put in a higher low. And then when nobody expects it, we will start to see this thing rip. I doubt if we're going to see that happen through the end of the year, the final quarter of this year. Probably not. I think we're going to be busy setting up the low from here. And then maybe sometime in 2024, this is where we're going to start to see this rip. So this is the time when you should be accumulating, right? So looking to accumulate on dips, dollar cost averaging. This is going to be the time to do this. It was a great time to do this back here. One way that you can also look at this is if you go into, let's see if I can find this here, Bollinger's. Yeah, the Bollinger's, this will do. So if we go out to a weekly Bollinger Band, this is where if you have a weekly pullback, which goes down in the middle of an uptrend, not a downtrend, but in the middle of an uptrend, if you have a weekly pullback down to a Bollinger Band, this is a good time to maybe double up on that. Maybe double up. Hey, Jack from Darwin, welcome aboard. And let's see, who else we got there? Yeah, Mr. T, Enthosapien. Okay, cool. All right, so this is BTC. Now, I'm not seeing much of anything else moving around today. I mean, some of the usual suspects that we look at, if we look at things like, let's just go out to the daily chart here. Ethereum, not looking great. Really the top 4 or 5 are the only ones that are doing well, although Binance Coin has got its problems. Ripple has pulled back into the pattern. So we were celebrating Ripple winning its lawsuit, but then that's pulled back into the pattern. The bears, once again, have pulled this thing back to 50 cents. And then we had Bitcoin Cash making a break for it. This is going to be part of the EDX exchange, which is going to be for the big traders. But one thing that could move things around is going to be the ETF. If Grayscale just won their lawsuit against the SEC, so they may be first mover advantage. Although Gemini was in place, we've got ARC Innovation with an ETF application out there. We could have a lot of Bitcoin ETFs, and there's a lot of institutional demand that could come in because of that. But we've been waiting for this for years, so until we see it, we're not going to worry about it for right now. Okay, so let's look at Enthosapien wants to look at Carvana. So we're going to go out to stocks, Carvana, and I don't know the symbol for this one. All right, so CVNA. Okay, so Carvana, let's look at this in a couple of different ways. So this is a pretty nasty downtrend that's in Carvana. And in some ways, this actually looks a lot like a lot of crypto charts over the last 2 years, because it's setting up a longer term base down here. And that's good when they set up a base, but you got to wait. You got to wait until they get out of the base. So getting in too early, because if you look at this from just a weekly perspective, what do we see from a weekly perspective on this chart? We just see a chart with lower highs and lower lows, right? This peaked out in 2021 at about 375 a share. And until it gets above 57, it's not considered to be breaking out. So what I would want to see on Carvana is I would want to see this breaking out above 57 and then retesting that level from above before you want to, because you could get a false breakout from here, pull back down in. If this thing starts to run again, which I'm not sure if it is, I don't know if Carvana is going to survive, but if it's going to run, what it's going to do is it's going to make a breakout, it's going to retest the breakout, and then you'll know whether or not this thing is worth going after, okay? Anybody else have any other coins or assets or anything else that you want to look at for right now? One of the ones that everybody seems to want to look at is gold. So I'm just going to look at the GLD. Just going to look at, no, this is the wrong one. Let's just look at, let's look at GC in futures. Okay, so here's gold futures. And so what gold is doing is gold is in this whack pattern up here. This is a monthly pattern. This has been in the same price area since 2020, August of 2020. So it's been up here for 3 years, knocking people over the head and neck, up and down, beating up both sides of the ledger until this thing is ready to go. And I don't know what the catalyst is going to be where gold breaks out. Everybody's been talking about gold being an inflation hedge. But, we've seen incredible inflation coming into things and going, and we haven't seen anything happening with gold over the past 3 years. It's kind of amazing. Check out Maker. Hey, Brandon, how you doing? All right, let's see if I can find this here. So we're going to go into Crypto Maker. Is this Maker DAO? Do you know the ticker symbol for that, Brandon? Do you know the ticker and the pair for that? I tend to only focus off of the tickers here. Okay, so let's see if this is the one that you're talking about here. Maker versus the US dollar. This one's actually doing quite well lately, although what we want to see is we want to see this trend line, which has been in place since around the June timeframe. We want to see this hold. Okay, so this trend line has got to hold. Otherwise, this is setting up as another head and shoulders pattern. So what we have to see, yeah, okay. So hopefully I've got the right symbol here that you want me to look at. So right now, this has got to get above and beyond 1200. This has got to get over 1200 to maintain the trend. If this does break down through not only the trend line, but also 1000, this thing is toast. So it's in a very important pivotal spot right now. So this is Maker. Something else, I don't know if you guys know how to do this, but if you go into the pair screener, you can maybe, just look up USDT or something like that. And you can find things that are moving today. Now, some of these are just utter crap, right? So this is a liquid crap. So even though it's up 2,400%, that means that it's gone from 0.00001 penny to, something a little bit larger than that. So look for things with liquidity. If you see charts that look like this, stay away from it. Okay, so here, this one, no. So unfi. So here's a nice looking chart. Here's something that's starting to move. Okay, so we'll get rid of the pair screener. But this one is breaking out of a base. If we go out to the weekly chart, we can get a longer term pattern on this. So this one's been in kind of a nasty pattern, but we've seen a nice move. It's doubled in just the last couple of weeks. So this one is unfi versus tether. All right, Enthosapien wants to look at LKNCY. Okay, so are you kidding? This is Luckin Coffee? Oh my. So I invested in Luckin Coffee into the equities market, and as you know, for these Chinese stocks, there is no Chinese stock that you can trade around the rest of the world. So what they do is that they create these ADRs, which operates as a fake stock. The problem is you can't really get access into any of the internals or the accounting or anything like that. You really have no view into that company whatsoever, unlike what you have to do with US. And so Luckin Coffee was cooking their books. And I got out of it just in time. So there's not much that I can see here. This one's only been lit for 2 days, so there's no price patterns. So it's a stock. Okay, so let's see if we have. So it's actually tokenized. Isn't that cool? We have a tokenized Luckin Coffee. Okay, LKNCY. There we go, Luckin Coffee. And I have to say, that's a pretty good looking chart. Let's look at the weekly chart. See, this is when all that crap went down back in 2020. This is when it got destroyed. But it seems to, I think what they've done is they've committed to much better procedures. But again, it's still over the counter. You can't, this isn't over the counter. It's not listed on the NYSE or the NASDAQ or anything like that. So, but still the price pattern looks really good on this one. This is a weekly chart. It's got some nice, you can see here, it's heading into higher highs and higher lows. Looks very good. Okay, let's see if there's anything else out there. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's wrap up. Let's come back to Bitcoin for a second. And I don't think we have any change with today. So today is just kind of trying to hold that 38.2% retracement. And it's probably more than likely going to, on the first negative catalyst, we'll probably break underneath 25,000. So it's okay. It's all right. We have to set up that monthly higher low. So let it go down. Use the time. Don't be like everybody else and stick their head in the sand or walk away and say, oh, I'm going to go into real estate. All right. So stick with it. Look to increase your stake as the price goes down and be part of the demand on the way back up again. All right, guys. Hey, I've got to run here. It's about 10 minutes till. I got a couple of trades I need to close out. So I wanted to thank you guys for joining me here today. I typically do this every week or so, every couple of weeks or so. So look forward to seeing you in the next one. And if you want to, let me know if there's something that you want me to do during the session. We can turn this into a quick little trade school session for you. And if you're curious, go check out my service, which is over at readysetcrypto.ONE. So thanks, everybody. You guys have a great month of September. I'll see you soon in our next session. Thanks, everybody. Take care.